आपको सिंध असेंबली लिए चलते हैं, जहां सिंध असेंबली में बजट पेश किया जा रहा है।
यहाँ जो फूल खिले वो खिला रहे सदियों, यहाँ खिजा को गुजरने की भी मजाल न हो। खुदा करे कि मेरे एक भी हम वतन के लिए हयात जुर्म न हो, जिंदगी वबाल न हो। जनाब स्पीकर, मां बजट पेश करण खां अॻु क़ाइदनि मूजिब अवां खां इहा इजाज़त थो घुरां त रूल 241 जे तहत मूंखे इहा बजट सिंधी ऐं उर्दू ॿोलियुनि में के सिवा अंग्रेज़ी में पेश करण जी पिण इजाज़त ॾींदा। महिरबानी साईं। मां ऐवान खे ॼाण ॾियणु चाहियां थो त असां इहा बजट टिनी ॿोलियुनि में सिंध तोड़े मुल्क जे अवाम ऐं सॼी दुनिया जे वास्ते सिंध सरकार ऐं नाणे खाते जी वेबसाइट ते बि रखी आहे ऐं हिते मौजूद मानवारी मीडिया उर्दू ऐं अंग्रेज़ी में पिण इहा फराहम करे रहिया आहियूं। Mr. Speaker, sir, I am truly honored. Allah Almighty has once again bestowed me the honor to stand before the elected representatives of Sindh and present the fourth budget of our current term. I am grateful to my Lord for putting us on a persistent path to progress and development. The principles set forth by our founding father, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, always
बहुत अफसोस होता है आप लोगों को देख के, आपके
acts as a benchmark for setting out our priorities and planning the business of the government. Therefore, at the very outset,
असेंबली में आप लोग बैठे हैं, ये असेंबली का इजलास है, बजट इजलास है, बिहेवियर आपका बताता है। जी बोलें आप।
सर अगर इधर तवज्जो दे दें। The government can only have for its aim one objective: how to serve the people, how to devise ways and means for their welfare and their betterment. Keeping in view the vision of Quaid-e-Azam, this objective of the welfare and betterment of and service to the people has always been at the core of the government of Sindh's policies. Quaid-e-Awam Shaheed Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and Quaid-e-Jamhuriyat Shaheed Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto were ardent followers of teaching of Quaid-e-Azam. Their policy was also centered on the idea of the welfare and well-being of the common person, and they strove relentlessly during their lives and embraced martyrdom to achieve these goals. Now, under the inimitable and dynamic leadership of PPP Chairman Bilawal Bhutto Zardari and Co-Chairman President Asif Ali Zardari, the Pakistan People's Party and its government continue to work single-mindedly for the uplift of the people. The budget of 2016-17 has also been prepared in consonance with the collective vision of our leaders, and I feel honored to present the people-friendly budget for fiscal year 2016-17. Mr. Speaker, sir, Pakistan People's Party has made innumerable sacrifices primarily for successful continuation of democracy and to ensure that the people of Pakistan not only have a say in getting out priorities of governance and development, but they also be the actual drivers of change. For this purpose, this year's budget has also been set out in the spirit of reconciliation and participatory politics, aimed towards the establishment of a just, equitable, and egalitarian society. We believe in the politics of inclusion. We believe in the politics of participation. We believe in the politics of reconciliation. Thus, we will try to ensure that every step is taken jointly and every decision is made with participation and consensus of all parties involved. I am thankful to all our honorable MPs, both from the Treasury and the opposition benches, for their support and look forward to the cooperation in the future. So this year, I made an effort and I personally met all the parliamentary parties which are present in the Assembly. I am thankful to Mr. Nisar Ahmed Kholo Sahab, the parliamentary leader of Pakistan People's Party, for facilitating this dialogue with the Treasury MPs. I am thankful to Leader of the Opposition, Khwaja Izhar Sahab, and Leader of the Parliamentary Party of MQM, Syed Sardar Ahmed, who took out time and met with me and shared their concerns, and I tried to brief them about the budget. I am thankful to Honorable Nand Kumar Sahab, the Leader of the Parliament Party of Pakistan Muslim League Functional, Mr. Samar Ali Khan Saab, leader of the parliamentary party of PTI, and Mr. Ismail Rao Saab, leader of the parliamentary party of Pakistan Muslim League N, who also took time out and met with me, and I could brief them a little about the budget, and they also raised their concerns. Sir, I would like you to acknowledge the leadership of political parties, both in the assembly and outside it, especially Mr. Altaf Hussain, leader of MQM, Pir Sahib Pagara, Pir Sabutullah Shah Rashti of PML Functional, Mia Nawaz Sharif of PML Nawaz, Mr. Imran Khan, Chairman PTI, and also Mr. Asfandiar Wali Khan, Maulana Sirajul Haq, and Maulana Fazlur Rahman, among others. Mr. Speaker, the whole democratic setup, including this House, stands for service of people of Sindh. Through the democratic process, they have reposed their faith in us, and it is incumbent upon us to live up to their expectations. Our vision is across the board service of the people of Sindh without any discrimination or bias. Through this budget, we have put in maximum efforts to translate this dream into actionable plans. Mr. Speaker, as stated earlier, the focus of this budget is the overall betterment and welfare of the people, for which efficient and optimal utilization of the resource is mandatory. Given the effective public financial management has a direct impact on service delivery, we aim to move towards a peaceful and prosperous Sindh by bringing about sustainable and inclusive socio-economic, infrastructural and human resource development. Sir, I would start details of the budget speech with talking a little about the National Finance Commission Award. Sir, I would like to inform this August House about the status of the NFC Award. Sir, it is the constitutional responsibility of the federal government to announce the NFC Award for a period of 5 years under Article 160 of the Constitution. The last NFC was to end on 30th of June 2015. It may be recalled that the previous government of Pakistan People's Party had fulfilled its constitutional obligation in letter and spirit and announced the 7th NFC Award well before the time of its commencement. However, the present PMLN government at the federal level has failed to fulfill the constitutional obligation. The 9th National Finance Commission was constituted on 24th of April 2015, more than a year ago. In the very first meeting and the only meeting, because there's been no meeting of the National Finance Commission throughout the last fiscal year. In its first meeting held on 28th April 2015, presented a timetable to finalize the recommendations by 31st of May 2015. This meant a very dedicated 6 weeks devoted to the National Finance Commission. However, the federal government did not agree to this, and they constituted 4 working groups studies on different topics, the formulation of the new award. So here again, the government of Sindh took the lead in completing its task and convened the very first meeting of the working group of the 9th NFC in Karachi. And this was done within 2 months of the formation, 2 or 3 months of the formation of this group. All the other groups of the provinces, the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province and the Punjab province, have completed their reports. Balochistan province was not given any responsibility, but it is really sad for me to mention that the federal government has neither completed its report and nor have they convened any subsequent meeting of the NFC that has been past due on its part. The government of Sindh is fully prepared on its part and has repeatedly been requesting the federal government to move ahead with the task of finalizing 9th NFC, but in vain. The apparent deliberate delay by the federal government is tantamount to the federal government shying away from its constitutional obligation. Therefore, using the floor of this House, I record my strong protest at the unwillingness of the federal government to undertake this important constitutional activity to the detriment of its citizens. I reiterate that the federal government must fulfill the constitutional obligation for announcing the 9th NFC Award for safeguarding constitutional rights of the federating units without any further delay. इस पे एक शेर पढ़ देता हूं सर. एक तर्ज तगफुल है जो वो उनको मुबारक, एक अर्ज तमन्ना है जो हम करते रहेंगे। Sir, allow me to share some good news. Sir, the total budget of the province of Sindh for the fiscal year 2016-17 is proposed at an unprecedented rupees 869.1 billion. The annual development program of Government of Sindh for the coming financial year will be rupees 225 billion. So this is a massive increase of 39% over current year's ADP. This is a great achievement by all standards. So we will be able to mobilize additional resources through better revenue generation as well as through borrowing from the domestic market as per the ceiling given to us by the NEC. These additional revenues will be spent on our development portfolio, as we will ensure that the current budget of the province shall not increase by more than 13%. This is despite the fact that the salary and pension expenditure has to increase in order to provide relief to government employees and also to create new jobs. Moreover, we have also ensured that allocation for such important functions as maintenance and repair of the existing infrastructure, non-salary expenditure of schools, and the budget for medicines and other equipment of the hospital shall increase substantially. I will give you details of this later on in my speech. Mr. Speaker, another key feature of this budget of 2016-17 is a significant increase in the allocations of some of the smaller departments which perform important social welfare functions but generally get a smaller share in resource allocation. These departments include social welfare, special education, sports and youth affairs, women development and minority affairs. Sir, I'll just briefly give you details, and further on in my speech I'll elaborate on these. The budget for social welfare department is being increased by 65.5%, with the additional amount to be spent on improvement of facilities like Darul Amans and Darul Atfals, etc. The overall budget for special education has been increased by 35%. Sir, but the non-salary budget has surged by 433%. And this additional amount will be spent on improving 50 facilities meant for special education across the province. The budget for sports and youth affairs department has increased by 46% to provide better avenues of development for the youth of the province. The budget for women development department has been increased by 149%, most of which will be spent to provide microfinance facilities to women entrepreneurs and also to provide legal services to needy women. The grant for minorities is being increased from rupees 100 million to rupees 300 million, an increase of a massive 200%, which will be spent on different welfare schemes for minorities. Mr. Speaker, sir, our tax administration is performing well. Sir, we will inshallah achieve the current year's target of rupees 124 billion for tax revenues. So the Sindh Revenue Board has once again done exceptionally well in achieving the target, the challenging target of rupees 61 billion. This has been possible due to the commendable efforts of its staff, but most of the credit will go to the outstanding leadership provided by its late chairman, Mr. Tashfeen Khalid Niaz. Sir, he was an excellent officer and a thorough gentleman who had an exceptionally strong passion and commitment for his job. To have suddenly lost him has been a blow to all of us. May Allah give him highest place in Jannah. Sindh has surely lost a true. So the excellent taxation department also succeeded in achieving the targets assigned to it. So considering this excellent performance, we have set more challenging targets for these two entities in the next financial year. Our overall tax collection is estimated at rupees 154 billion for financial year 2016-17, which is 24% higher than the current year's target. And so I would like to mention here that there are no new taxes. We have rationalized some taxes, and I'll give you details of that to bring them at par with taxes in other provinces. But even then, our tax rate is lower than the other provinces. I'll just give you the good news now that we are reducing the sales tax on service rate from 14%, which is in the current financial year, to 13%. The Taxation Department has also gets a challenging target of rupees 52 billion. They were able to achieve the targets for this year, and we've increased the targets, and I'm sure that the Excise Department will be able to meet these targets. This is 24% higher than the current year's target of rupees 42 billion. So the Board of Revenue has been assigned a target of rupees 16.6 billion with the confidence that it will be achieving it by introducing reforms and automation in the collection mechanism. So I would just like to say a few words about agriculture income tax. The members, when I met the parliamentary parties, they raised this issue. We've got an agriculture income tax in the province, which has been promulgated since 2000 under the Sindh Land Tax and Agriculture Income Tax Ordinance 2000. So I would admit that the collection under this tax has not been very encouraging. So I've sat down with the Board of Revenue and inshallah in consultation with the Minister of Revenue and the Minister of Agriculture. The Honorable Chief Minister has already directed us to revamp the agriculture income tax to rationalize the rates. So for example, the minimum slab for agriculture income is rupees 80,000, which is very low. We are contemplating increasing it so that the small farmers get relief. We are also contemplating rationalizing the agriculture income tax rates. Implementing it, then they start paying it. So I'd just like to mention one thing here, that the Federal Board of Revenue, a lot of people show agriculture income tax as an exempt tax and mention it in the Federal Board of Revenue FBR taxes. I've got a copy of these, and you'll be amazed to know that there are people who are misusing our agriculture income tax law. And we're going to target these people, and I'm sure that inshallah ta'ala, we try within the next 6 to 8 weeks after the passing of the budget in the month of July and August, we'll sit down with all the stakeholders. I'll invite the political parties for it also, and we will come up with a new agriculture income tax law which would be more rational, which will facilitate paying of agriculture income tax, and inshallah ta'ala, we will increase the agriculture income tax many folds. Sir, our efforts in tax collection have been a source of satisfaction for us, as we have seen a growth of 18% during the last 3 years, higher than the growth in tax collection achieved by any other government in Pakistan, may it be the federal government or the government of the other 3 provinces. The additional revenues that we have generated are now available to finance and a very healthy ADP of rupees 225 billion that we have budgeted for next fiscal year. It is the result of a better fiscal management during the last 3 years that we can aim for such a high growth in our development portfolio. Sir, we have managed to keep a check on unproductive government expenditure. Austerity measures were introduced in our financial management. A whole set of PFM reforms aiming at more transparency and accountability were introduced. There has been a ban on procurement of new vehicles except for operational vehicles for police and hospitals, etc. Procurement of other luxury items like air conditioners, etc. have also been kept under control. These measures have saved us the resources to spend on the development portfolio. These savings have also helped us in diverting more resources to such productive use as maintenance of roads and buildings. This year, rupees 4 billion were provided for repair of roads, through which some major roads have been rehabilitated in all districts. Similarly, rupees 401 million was spent on repair and maintenance of major teaching hospitals and rupees 9.58 billion on other government buildings. Thus, we are not only focusing on creating new infrastructure, this policy, but also keeping sizable allocation for maintenance of existing infrastructure. So I would like to mention here that our non-development expenditure, I'll give you details later, includes this. Non-development also includes brick and mortar work and repair of all roads, repair of buildings, repair the upgradation in the irrigation system. This all comes under non-development. That's why the non-development, though it seems larger, but there's a lot of productive work also going on under the non-development expenditure. We are not relying solely on the engineers of the Works and Services Department, but have also involved elected representatives through district administration for need assessment and monitoring of the expenditure. Similar improvements can also be seen in irrigation infrastructure throughout the provinces, throughout the province, which was in shambles after the super floods of 2010. Mr. Speaker, we have been following a policy of spending major portion of our budget on 4 priority sectors, that is education, health, law and order, and local bodies. We will continue with the same policy in coming financial year, as we believe expenditure on these sectors is key to improve the quality of the life of citizens. In addition to keeping better financial allocations for these sectors, we are simultaneously working on improving their management in order to bring efficiency into their working and get better value for the resource that we are spending on these sectors. These reforms include creation of a separate management cadre and a monitoring arm in the education department, bringing in private sector management into government education and health facilities under the legal framework of public-private partnership. Induction of ex-army men into police force, procuring best fighting equipment for the police force, etc. With such reforms gradually taking hold, the performance of these departments is expected to improve substantially during the coming year. Sir, I'll just give you the revised estimate for the year 2015-16. So the revised estimate of total receipts of the province for current financial year 2015-16 are rupees 696.7 billion as against the budget estimate of rupees 726.6 billion, showing a decrease of 4.1%. Received from the federal government on account of revenue assignment, straight transfers and grants stood at 494.3 billion, which are almost same as the budget estimate of rupees 494.1 billion. Sir, I would like to explain the receipts from the federal government here. The promised amount, even in the revised budget, is rupees 494.3 billion. Sir, 494.3 अरब रुपए फेडरल गवर्नमेंट ने कहा है कि हमें देंगे, लेकिन इस वक्त तक जब मैं यहाँ तकरीर कर रहा हूँ, हमें 382 अरब, we've got 382 बिलियन. इसका मतलब यह है कि अभी 112 अरब रुपए हमें, जो उन्होंने बजट तकरीर जो आज से कुछ दिनों पहले की गई थी, एक हफ्ते पहले की गई थी, उसमें कहा था कि सिंध सूबे को हम 494 अरब रुपए देंगे 30 जून तक, उसमें भी 112 अरब बाकी हैं. So I am hoping that we'll get this 112 billion rupees, otherwise we'll have a shortfall. So the federal transfers constituted 71.1% of the total receipts of the province. Receipts of the federal PSDP are revised to rupees 9.9 billion, whereas foreign project assistance is revised at rupees 15.6 billion. Sir, इसमें भी जो PSDP में releases हैं, कुछ दिनों पहले मैंने चेक किया था, बजट की किताब में 9.9 अरब लिखा गया है, अभी तक हमें तकरीबन 7 अरब से कुछ कम मिले हैं, 6.5 अरब थे कुछ दिनों पहले जब चेक किया. तो यहाँ पे भी फेडरल गवर्नमेंट ने अभी हमें पैसे देने हैं, जो मैं उम्मीद करता हूँ कि 30 जून से पहले हमें दे देंगे, नहीं तो जो बजट में उन्होंने लिखा है वो दुरुस्त नहीं होगा. Sir, receipts from provincial own sources on account of tax and non-tax receipts are revised at 33.6 billion. फेडरल गवर्नमेंट ने दी है, सिंध हुकूमत ने एक काउंटर गारंटी की है. मैं इसमें थोड़ा सा आपको बता दूं कि प्राइम मिनिस्टर राजा परवेज अशरफ साहब हमें सॉवरन गारंटी 2013 में दे गए थे, लेकिन उस सॉवरन गारंटी को साइन करने में तकरीबन 3 साल लगाए गए, और वो भी तब दी जब हुकूमत सिंध ने काउंटर गारंटी नहीं की. तो खैर देर आए दुरुस्त आए, फेडरल गवर्नमेंट का शुक्रिया कि उन्होंने 3 साल बाद हमारी काउंटर गारंटी के बाद वो सॉवरन गारंटी साइन की, और अब हम इस प्रोजेक्ट का फाइनेंशियल क्लोज कर चुके हैं. सर, ये 3.8 मिलियन टन पर एनम की माइन है, जिसपे 60 मेगावाट का पावर प्लांट एंग्रो कॉर्पोरेशन बनाएगी. ये पहला स्टेप है, इसके बाद ये बढ़ जाएगी 6.5 मिलियन टन पर एनम की माइन हो जाएगी और 1320 मेगावाट एनर्जी मिलेगी. और सर, ये मेरा ख्याल है पाकिस्तान की तकदीर चेंज करेगा ये प्रोजेक्ट. सर, we have completed this project against all odds, और इसके लिए मैं एक शेर सुना देता हूं अपने सूबे के दोस्तों, बल्कि इस मुल्क के लोगों के लिए. तुझसे एहद वफा उस्तवार रखते हैं, इलाज गर्ते से ले लो निहार रखते हैं। हमने एक मेहनत की है और हमारी मेहनत कामयाब हुई है। सर एक और एनर्जी प्रोजेक्ट का बता दूं जिसका फायदा कराची शहर को हो रहा है। 100 मेगावाट का नूरियाबाद पावर प्रोजेक्ट। ये अगर कान लगा के सुन लें आपके लोग, आपको सुनने नहीं दे रहे ख्वाजा साहब। 100 मेगावाट का सिंध नूरियाबाद पावर प्रोजेक्ट हमने कंप्लीट कर लिया है। जुलाई में इसकी टेस्ट रनिंग होगी। इसके लिए इस पे 13 अरब रुपए, ये ईडीपी में नहीं है, ये पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप में हुआ है। 13 अरब रुपए इस प्रोजेक्ट पे खर्च हुए हैं। इसके अलावा तकरीबन 2 अरब रुपए की ट्रांसमिशन लाइन हमने बिछाई है और ये पूरा पावर 100 मेगावाट कराची के लिए काम आएगा। ये सीधा नूरियाबाद से उठा के पावर कराची लाया जा रहा है। ये अगर गौर से सुन लें, मोहम्मद हुसैन को सुनना नहीं है। Sir, to promote renewable energy projects, Government of Sindh has framed a dedicated land grant policy 2015 for the purpose of developing RE projects in the province. 53,000
मार्केट नहीं है,
has already been leased out to renewable energy
ये
projects.
एम्प्रेस मार्केट नहीं है।
Whereas 40,000 acres land has been reserved for renewable energy parks in the province. Renewable energy enclave has also been envisaged for the location of government land with infrastructure for development of RE clusters at strategic locations. So the government of Sindh has so far completed 6 power projects with a cumulative capacity of 309.2 megawatts. 9 wind power projects are under construction with a total capacity of 475.9 megawatts. Sir, in addition, 46 more projects with a total capacity of 3,550 megawatts are at various stages of project development. So, total investment of wind power project is approximately 5,370 million. Total investment of wind power projects is approximately 5,370 million. The National Transmission and Dispatch Company has confirmed the power evacuation of 1756 megawatts from this wind corridor. The wind tower manufacturing facility by the Chinese Three Gorges Company is already operational in site area. So the government of Sindh has also planned 24 solar power projects which will add 1,450 megawatts in the national grid. Total investment of solar power project is US $2.9 billion. Sir, a total of approximately 750 villages have been electrified at a cost of rupees 1.2 billion by the Directorate of Village Electrifications during the current financial year. An amount of 1.2 billion is allocated for the next financial year.
जी आप बोले।
Government of Sindh is executing supply of gas to villages through Sui Southern Gas Company Limited. A loan of rupees 6.5 billion has been disbursed to SSGCL for carrying out gas supply to villages. SSGCL has completed gas to 746 villages, while work for supply of gas to 209 villages is in progress. The government of Sindh has also established Sindh Transmission and Dispatch Company. Currently, the STDC is constructing a power dispatch line of 90 kilometers from Sindh Nuriabad Gas Company Limited up to KTA Scheme 33. Just मैंने आपको बताया, this will provide 100 megawatts power to the city of Karachi, which will go a long way in addressing the load shedding problems of Karachi. So I'll talk a little about the road infrastructure. Development of road infrastructure remains one of the topmost priorities of Government of Sindh to improve socio-economic conditions of the people and facilitate poverty alleviation. The government is also injecting more money to improve existing infrastructure. The budgetary allocation for maintenance and repair of roads was rupees 3.7 billion, which was enhanced to rupees 4.5 billion in current financial year. This has brought significant improvement of roads and it included improvement of over 2,300 kilometers, beside construction of over 2,600 kilometers of new roads. Looking at this trend, the allocation for the next financial year for maintenance of roads in the non-development side is rupees 5 billion. This is over and above the ADB allocation. The proposed allocation in ADP under the road sector for the coming financial year is rupees 22.4 billion, as against rupees 15.4 billion in 2015-16. This is a significant increase of 45%. Various projects are being executed with the assistance of foreign donor agencies. A total of 528.5 kilometers of rural access roads have been constructed with the assistance of Japanese government at a total cost of rupees 8.7 billion. These roads are spread entire province consisting of district Thatta, Jamshoro, Hyderabad, Larkana, Kambar, Shahidapur, Shikarpur, Khairpur, Jacobabad, Kashmir, Kankod and Sakkar. With the assistance of Chinese government, Works and Services Department has initiated the rehabilitation, reconstruction of Nawab Shah Sangar Road, having total length of 61 kilometers. This will be completed in 2 years at a cost of 2.09 billion. Works and Services Department has also secured a loan of rupees 197.8 million from Asian Development Bank. 6 roads are being constructed, the details of which are given in the speech. So with a view to infusing private sector efficiencies, sir, I would like to mention another project here. Sir, the Thatta-Sijawal Bridge, which was constructed in the 1950s, developed cracks. The government of Sindh worked on constructing a new bridge, and by the grace of Almighty Allah, we will be completing the Thatta-Sijawal Bridge in a span of 15 months, and this scheme will start in August, inshallah. The scheme will be inaugurated by the Honorable Chief Minister. With a view of infusing private sector efficiencies, the Works and Services Department has taken a number of initiatives under the government's policy of public-private partnership. So the Hyderabad-Mir-Fast dual carriageway is a prime example of our achieving successfully the public-private partnership mode. After this, we are going to complete, inshallah, in the month of July, the Jirk Mulakatiyar Bridge. Sir, I want to mention here that the Jirk Mulakatiyar Bridge is the longest bridge constructed over any river in Pakistan. And the government of Sindh has constructed this bridge under public-private partnership, and no federal funding was given for this. So we have just, the Chief Minister on the 5th of June has just broken ground for the 49-kilometer Karachi-Thatta dual carriageway. This is being constructed under public-private partnership by Frontier Works Organization, and inshallah ta'ala, this scheme will be completed in a span of 1 year. In addition, the Hyderabad-Kandu Muhammad Khan Road is also being envisaged in the public-private partnership at a cost of 5 billion. The spade work has been done for this. Bridge between Kankod and Kashmir and Ghotki, between Kankod and Ghotki is also planned under public-private partnership, and we are in the final stages of completing the spade work for this project. Sir, I'll tell you something about the irrigation department. So irrigation sector is of vital importance, as 70% of Sindh's population is dependent upon water for cultivation in its related activities. The importance of water has increased more in backdrop of climate change. Efforts are therefore underway to improve irrigation supplies and conserve maximum quantity of water. Budget estimates for current revenue expenditure of irrigation department are estimated at 18.7 billion as against current financial year allocation of rupees 17.7 billion. The ADP for next financial year has increased from the current 12 billion to rupees 14 billion, showing an upward trend of 16.7 billion. So I would like to mention here that in the irrigation department, 91% has been allocated for ongoing schemes and only 9% for new schemes. The development plans are focused on rehabilitation of barrages, rehabilitation, protection and capacity enhancement of irrigation and drainage network, and conservation of water through lining of channels and building small dams. So there are further details. I'm just skipping these to save time. So I'll talk a little about the agriculture department. if agriculture follows irrigation, agriculture is the mainstay of our economy, with over 60% of our population deriving their sustenance from it. It contributes 24% to the GDP. Government of Sindh fully appreciates the importance of agriculture and is cognizant of its duties towards this sector. Current revenue expenditure of Agriculture Department has increased by 24% to rupees 6.7 billion in next financial year, as against rupees 5.4 billion in current financial year. The ADP for the next financial year is pitched at rupees 5.8. अरे भाई मैंने कहा था छोड़ रहा हूँ, अगर आप सुन ले तो. Rupees 5.2 billion have been allocated for foreign projects, which include agriculture growth project, and rupees 3 billion for Sindh irrigated agriculture productivity enhancement project. So the total development outlay for irrigation in the next financial year is rupees 11 billion. So I'll talk about transport. So the government of reliable and good quality transport, both private and public, at affordable cost in urban and rural areas of the province. In order to effectively handle public-private partnership, rupees 9.9 million has been allocated for establishment of PPP node in transport and media and mass transit department. Besides, the ADP for next financial year is pitched at rupees 3.2 billion, which is an increase of 6.7% over ADP of rupees 3 billion in current financial year. Government of Sindh intends to introduce Sindh Mass Transit Authority Bill for creation of Sindh Mass Transit Authority to enhance the capacity of the department to conduct mass transit projects and to ensure transparency. With this vision, various critical mass transit projects are under process at various stages, including development of various BRTs. All BRTs listed below will be finally integrated with the help of Asian Development Bank. So BRT Yellow Line is a 26-kilometer length. It is being done in public-private partnership. A Chinese company, CUEC-led consortium, has been given this public-private partnership contract, and inshallah ta'ala the concession agreement will be signed soon. Sir, I'm glad to inform you that the BRT Orange Line project the groundbreaking was performed by the Honorable Chief Minister yesterday. This project of 2.35 billion, 100% allocation has been kept for in the next financial year, and inshallah ta'ala we hope to complete this 4.7 kilometer orange BRT in the next financial year. So we are also doing the BRT Red Line with funds from the Asian Development Bank, and this is in the process of development. In addition, the BRT Blue Line is being done in public-private partnership, and we've received an offer for that. So in order to provide dedicated bus service for intercity operations, a scheme of induction of 200 buses for intercity have been included in ADP 2016-17 with rupees 500 million allocation. So I'll go to social welfare. I spoke about social welfare earlier also. So these are the smaller departments which used to get very small allocation, and in the next financial year we have increased the allocations many times. So welfare of the marginalized section of the society being the top government priority reflects the budget of current revenue expenditure, in which social welfare department allocation has been increased by 65.5%. Rupees 1.39 billion in the next financial year compared to rupees 0.84 billion in the current financial year. The ADP for the next financial year is projected at rupees 290 million, increase of 45% over ADP of 200 million. Sir, we are planning to give an entirely new look to the facilities in social welfare department by enhancing facilities of Darul Aman and Darul Atfal. Sir, we kept 50 accreditations for this. Sir, apart from the social welfare department, as I said earlier, we have increased manifold the allocation for the women development department. We have increased manifold the allocation for special education department and of the minorities department. Minorities department, as I said, the grant for minorities has been increased 200 times for rupees 100 million to rupees 300 million. So Qaid-e-Azam said minorities can rest assured that their rights will be protected. No civilized government can be run successfully without giving minorities a complete sense of security and confidence. So this is our government's motto and we have achieved it. So even in sports and youth affairs, we have increased the budget allocation to rupees 832.9 million as against 570.4 million. The ADP for next year has also been increased 100% from rupees. The ADP allocation for Karachi division is rupees 50.3 billion, including district ADP. Karachi will be one of the focus areas of development for the next financial year. The major development schemes for Karachi are rupees 10 billion have been allocated for major infrastructure projects of Karachi, which will be instrumental for. These schemes are construction of Shaheed Benazir Bhutto flyover at Shaheen Complex at the cost of rupees 800 million, upgradation of fire service for high-rise buildings at the cost of rupees 499 million, upgradation of Pipri filter plant pumping station at the cost of rupees 900 million, construction of University Road from Hassan Square to Nipa at the cost of rupees 770 million, construction of University Road from NED University to Safura Chowk at a cost of rupees 780 million, rehabilitation, reconstruction of Tariq Road from Shaheed Millat Road to Sharai Qaidin District East at a cost of rupees 550 million, reconstruction, rehabilitation of Masamiyat Road, Karachi at a cost of rupees 200 million, construction of Hub River Road, balance portion at a cost of rupees 500 million, reconstruction, rehabilitation of road from Surjani to Madinatul Hikmat, Karachi at a cost of rupees 750 million, construction of underpass at Region Plaza, Sharai Faisal, Karachi at a cost of rupees 525 million, construction of U-turn at Nata Khan Bridge, Karachi at a cost of rupees 141 million, construction of underpass at Stargate, Sharai Faisal, Karachi at the cost of rupees 500 million, widening of Sharai Faisal both sides from Metropole to Stargate at the cost of rupees 850 million, remodeling of Baloch Colony flyover at the cost of rupees 120 million, reconstruction of Brick Colony flyover Karachi at a cost of rupees 505 million, construction of Manzil Pump flyover at N5 Karachi at a cost of rupees 600 million, construction of underpass at Submarine Chaurangi Karachi at a cost of rupees 500 million. सर ये सारे प्रोजेक्ट्स जो मैंने बताए टोटल 10 अरब रुपए के 100% एलोकेशन इनकी रखी हुई है. ये प्रोजेक्ट्स आइडेंटिफाइड है और इंशाल्लाह ताला अगले फाइनेंशियल ईयर में ये प्रोजेक्ट्स कंप्लीट होंगे. झूठ बोलने वालों का मुंह काला. एलोकेशन जो झूठ बोल रहे हैं ना कि ये झूठ है, ये पैसे रखे हुए हैं और उस पर झूठ झूठ बोलते रहे. सर एक और प्रोजेक्ट बताता हूं मैं. सर K4 प्रोजेक्ट, मुझे आपको ये बताते हुए खुशी महसूस हो रही है कि K4 प्रोजेक्ट का पहला पैकेज जिसकी कीमत 15.2 अरब रुपए है, ये हमें इसका लेटर ऑफ एक्सेप्टेंस इशू कर दिया जाएगा और इंशाल्लाह ताला कुछ दिनों में मेरा ख्याल है ये बजट वाइंड अप होने से पहले चीफ मिनिस्टर साहब इस प्रोजेक्ट का इफ्तिताह करेंगे. FWO ये प्रोजेक्ट बना रही है और उन्होंने वादा किया है कि 2 साल में ये प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीट होगा. तो मैं सबको मुबारकबाद देता हूँ. ठीक है, इसमें देर बहुत हुई है, इस वक्त भी फेडरल गवर्नमेंट ने सही एलोकेशन नहीं दी है, लेकिन जैसे मैंने बताया कि एहसन इकबाल साहब ने हमें कहा है कि रीअप्रोप्रिएट करके दे देंगे. हमने 6 अरब रुपए इस अगले माली साल में रखे हुए हैं, इसलिए कि हमारा अंदाजा है कि तकरीबन 12 अरब रुपए एक साल में खर्च हो जाएंगे. 6 अरब हमने रख दिए, फेडरल गवर्नमेंट ने सिर्फ इस वक्त 3 अरब के करीब दिए और हम चाहेंगे कि 3 अरब रुपए वो और दें जो हमें वादा किया गया है. आज शाम को नहीं. अच्छा, मुझे अभी पता है कि आज शाम को 5 बजे इसका लेटर ऑफ एक्सेप्टेंस FWO के हवाले किया जाएगा और आज ही ये प्रोजेक्ट शुरू हो जाएगा इंशाल्लाह ताला. सर इसके अलावा अगर मेरे दोस्त एनुअल डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम देखेंगे तो देखेंगे कि हर सेक्टर में कराची डिवीजन के लिए बहुत स्कीमें, मैंने काफी स्कीमें तकरीर में लिखी है, मैं सिर्फ कुछ पढ़ के बताता हूँ। सर, कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ 400 bedded hospital at plot ST8 block 10 Gulshan-e-Iqbal at the cost of 1.7 billion rupees. Strengthening and improvement of Jinnah Postgraduate Medical Center at a cost of 422 million rupees. Extension of services of SIUT Karachi at a cost of 1.154 billion rupees. सर, ये पिछले साल भी कुछ प्रोजेक्ट्स थे, कोर्ट में लिटिगेशंस की वजह से ये शुरू नहीं हो सके, हमने दोबारा इन पे हेफ्टी एलोकेशन रखी है, मैंने पिछले साल भी बताया था, यही दोस्त कहेंगे। और ये 100 MGD का प्रोजेक्ट पंप हाउस, इसके लिए भी पैसे रखे गए, 1.6 बिलियन हमने अगले साल रखे। और 60 MGD एडिशनल वाटर सप्लाई हालेजी टू पिपरी एट अ कॉस्ट ऑफ 6 बिलियन, ये भी इंक्लूड है, इसमें भी प्रॉब्लम है, लेकिन इंशाल्लाह ताला हमारे लोकल गवर्नमेंट मिनिस्टर ने इन प्रोजेक्ट्स को इस जगह पहुंचा दिया कि जल्द इसकी एग्जीक्यूशन शुरू होगी। रीवैम्पिंग ऑफ गुज्जर नाला 1 अरब रुपए का प्रोजेक्ट है, 250 मिलियन रखे गए इसके लिए। सर, और छोटे छोटे कई प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, अगर आप देखेंगे तो आपने मेरे MKM के दोस्तों ने एक लिस्ट दी थी, और अगर उस लिस्ट को कंपेयर करेंगे ADP बुक से, तो ये छोटे छोटे प्रोजेक्ट्स तकरीबन बहुत हद तक इनकॉर्पोरेट कर दिए गए हैं, अगर सुन ले। सर, improvement of internal roads of Block C, Block L North, Nazmabad, Karachi, 4 kilometer at the cost of rupees 50 million. Establishment and strengthening of Darul Atfal and rehabilitation of street children through civil society organization Kurangi 5 at a cost of rupees 314.5 million. Orange line का मैं बता चुका आपको, 2.36 बिलियन से बन रही है। रेड लाइन के बारे में भी मैंने बताया है कि 600 मिलियन रखे गए हैं, हम इसको एशियन डेवलपमेंट बैंक की मदद से बनाएंगे। सर, अब मैं हैदराबाद डिवीजन पे आता हूं। सर, दी ADB allocation for Hyderabad division is rupees 53.5 billion, including district ADP. Sir, Hyderabad is the second largest city of Sindh and is a district and divisional headquarter. During the current financial year, accelerated funds were released to expedite infrastructure of uplift of Hyderabad city, which has changed the outlook of the city. And my friends elected from Hyderabad that personally congratulated me for that. I hope they do the same in the budget speeches. Hyderabad से मेरे मुत्तहिदा कौमी मूवमेंट के जो MPAs हैं, उन्होंने खुद आके कहा था कि जी हैदराबाद में बहुत अच्छा काम हुआ है, मुझे उम्मीद है कि आगे बजट स्पीच में भी कहेंगे, और इसमें तो झूठ नहीं बोलेंगे। सर, जो मेजर स्कीम्स हैं हैदराबाद की मैं आपको बता दूं, हैदराबाद डिवीजन की रिपेयर रिनोवेशन ऑफ गवर्नमेंट डिग्री कॉलेज कारी मोरी एट अ कॉस्ट ऑफ 58.67 मिलियन। Establishment of cardiology unit at Sindh Government Hospital Kasmabad at a cost of rupees 300 million. Providing laying joint PVC and MS pipelines at different locations of Kasmabad. Improvement construction of road from Rajputana Hospital to National Highway bypass via Gulshan-e-Sajjad, Village Puddo, Palari, Makhdoom Rafiquzama Road, dual carriageway road at the cost of amount of rupees 300 million. Surface drainage scheme and Deg, Gadali, Panjmoru, Detki, Yushir, Shamir, Talko, Saidabad, District Matiari. Widening recondition of road from Mulakatyar, Buludi Shah Karim Road via Jhank Katyar Road. और सर, मैंने झिरक मुलाकातियार ब्रिज जो भी हैदराबाद डिवीजन में आती है, आपको बताया कि सिंध हुकूमत ने पाकिस्तान की सबसे लंबी ब्रिज किसी दरिया के ऊपर 1.7 किलोमीटर की बनाई है, और ये फेडरल गवर्नमेंट ने, किसी और सूबे ने दरियाए सिंध के ऊपर ब्रिज नहीं बनाई। हमने 2 ब्रिजेस बना चुके हैं, इंशाल्लाह ताला तीसरी ब्रिज हम बनाएंगे। 2 नियर कंप्लीशन है, जुलाई और अगस्त के महीने में इनका इफ्तिताह होगा। से इसके अलावा कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ फिल्ट्रेशन प्लांट एट मेहर, construction of overhead bridge on railway line between Kotri city and industrial area Kotri, construction of Sindh coastal highway Sakro, Gaggar Patak, KT Bandar, Shah Bandar, Godabari। और सर, मैंने कराची हैदराबाद ड्यूल कैरेज वे, कराची ठट्टा ड्यूल कैरेज वे जो पहले बताया था वो पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप में कर रहे हैं। ये कराची डिवीजन और हैदराबाद डिवीजन दोनों में फॉल होता है। ये ड्यूल कैरेज वे कराची ठट्टा ड्यूल कैरेज वे बनेगा। सर, सक्खर डिवीजन Sir, the ADB allocation for Sakkar division is rupees 22.7 billion. A vast network of institutional buildings and infrastructure development has taken place in the whole of the division during tenure of this government. Following are the few ongoing and new initiatives. Small surface drainage scheme, Jagir Ali Khan near Kumbh. Construction rehabilitation of 21 new schemes in Khairpur, including masonry structure. Khairpur at the cost of rupees 72 million. Drainage scheme, Ghodki City. Strengthening of Sakkar Institute of Business Administration. Construction of Makarani Masjid, Bandar Road, Sakkar at the cost of rupees 117 million. Widening of road from Salepat to Sikandrabad. Establishment of Women University at Sakkar at a cost of rupees 2.7 billion. Establishment of Ghulam Muhammad Mahar Medical College, Sakkar at a cost of rupees 3.32 billion. Establishment of Date Palm Research Institute at Sakkar at a cost of rupees 100 million. Rehabilitation of Dargah Sachal Sarmast Khairpur at a cost of rupees 77.5 million. Establishment of IT University at Khairpur at a cost of rupees 1.8 billion. Strengthening of Gampat Institute of Medical Sciences at a cost of rupees 1.4 billion. Drainage scheme Mirpur Mathelo at a cost of rupees 388.8 million. Sir, Larkana division. Sir, the ADB allocation for Larkana division is 27.3 billion. The major schemes of Larkana division are protection, preservation, promotion and development of World Heritage Site of Manjadaro at a cost of rupees 285 million. Establishment of Monotechnic Institute at Gadi Khudabakhsh at a cost of 150 million. Establishment of Qaid-e-Awam University of Engineering, Science and Technology at the cost of rupees 2.6 billion. Larkana Development Plan at a cost of rupees 747 million. Construction of Bilawal Bhutto Zardari People's Park at Larkana at the cost of 114 million. Construction of Bakhtawar People's Park at Monjadaro at the cost of rupees 641 million. Sindh Barrages Improvement Projects is a total cost of rupees 20 billion and is being financed by the World Bank. Urban Water Supply Scheme Thul Town at a cost of rupees 585 million. अरे भाई ये पढ़ने के लिए आपके लिए मैं जो तकरीर कर रहा हूँ वो सुने. Improvement and Extension Drainage Scheme Kambar at a cost of rupees 648 million. Larkana Intra-City Project at a cost of rupees 250 million. Construction improvement of provincial roads in district Larkana at a cost of rupees 507 million. Establishment of vocational training center at Kashmir at a cost of rupees 110 million. Establishment of Cadet College Jacobabad at a cost of rupees 988 million. Construction of district court building at Kambar at a cost of 177 billion. Sir, Mirpur Khas, the ADB allocation for Mirpur Khas division is rupees 26.9 billion. Few ongoing and new initiatives for next year are CC lining of Noorwad, Thar Canal of Umarkot subdivision at a cost of rupees 795 million. Mirpur Khas development project road component at a cost of rupees 369 million. Construction of sewerage line diameter 18-inch and 12-inch of Mirpur Khas city at a total cost of 141 million. Construction of road from Khensar to Khipro, Variam, the cost of 431 million. Construction of road from Mithi intersection to Naukot at the cost of 2.8 billion. Pipeline water supply scheme, village Chor, Khokrapar at the cost of rupees 231 million. Providing drainage facilities in leftover new development areas of Umarkot. Construction of road from Anupani to Bitai Mile at a cost of rupees 237 million. Construction of rural health center Shujabad at a cost of rupees 150 million. Construction of rural health center Shujabad at a cost of rupees 150 million. Establishment of medical college at Mirpur Khas at a cost of rupees 2.1 billion. Establishment of Cadet College Mithi at a cost of rupees 491 million. Treatment of iron deficiency in Khairpur in Tharparkar at a cost of 110 million. Construction of Kalidas Dam and Veerwar Dam at a cost of rupees 73 million. The Makki First Link Canal Project. Establishment of public school at Umarkot. Construction of buildings at Kundri and Samara. And sir, I would like to mention that the cities which will get special attention, the Honorable Local Government Minister told me that Mirpur Khas will be one of the cities who will get a major share of the 2 billion rupees allocated for improvement of cities project. Sir, The ADB allocation for Shaheed Benazirabad division is rupees 18.9 billion. Following are some of the important schemes. Surface drainage scheme in Day 28 and Day 38, Dad, Talka Nawab Shah, rehabilitation and lining of irrigation channels, reconditioning, construction of district roads of Shaheed Benazirabad, widening of road from Jam Sahib to Hazrat Hod Fakir Road, widening recondition of Hala, Shehdatpur, Sangar with asphalt, construction of Abdul Salam Thaim flyover bridge at Shehdatpur over Jatia Railway Phatak, construction of road from Tharu Shah Phatak to connect Bhurti, Manjat and Tharu Shah Road, widening of road from Halani via Mehrapur to Mehran Highway, establishment of Cadet College for Girls at Shaheed Benazirabad, establishment of Benazir Institute of Urology and Transplantation at Shaheed Benazirabad, construction of new district jail for 250 prisoners, integrated solid waste management, upgradation of Sindh Government Hospital, Shehdat Court at a cost of 356 million, construction of judicial complex at Sangar, widening, reconditioning of Hala, Shehdatpur, Sangar Road. Here I'll briefly talk about the relief measures. The government of Sindh during this current financial year has distributed 347,121 bags of wheat worth rupees 1.17 billion free of cost amongst the drought-affected people to overcome the drought-conditioned district Tharparkar and Umarkot. This measure was in addition to the wheat subsidy of rupees 1.5 billion incurred during the procurement of wheat and rupees 1.3 billion for retirement of bank loans. Sir, we have increased the pays and allowances of government employees. We are proposing to do that, and for the pensioners. Sir, an ad hoc increase of 2013-14 will be merged in the pay scales. 10% ad hoc relief allowance on running basic pay will be allowed to all employees. So this will make the effective increase in pay to about 13%. Special conveyance allowance to disabled employees at rupees 1,000 per month. Integrated allowance to Naib Qasids, Daftaris from rupees 300 to rupees 450 per month. Revised late sitting conveyance charge by 15% to employees in grade 1 to 15. Washing allowance at rupees 100 and dress allowance at rupees 100 allowed to employees in BS 1 to 14 from rupees 100 to 150. MPhil allowance at 25% of PhD allowance, that is rupees 2,500 per month. Additional charge allowance, deputation allowance, revision of ceiling from rupees 6,000 to rupees 12,000. Current charge special pay revision of ceiling from rupees 6,000 to rupees 12,000. Increase in qualification pay at 50%. On the pattern of increase in pay of government employees, the minimum wage of labor for the benefit is being increased from rupees 13,000 to rupees 14,000 per month. So following relief measures for welfare of pensioners are being announced. 10% increase in net provision to all pensioners with effect from 1st July 2016. 25% increase in net pension to all pensioners above the age of 85 years with effect from 1st July 2016. Sir, it is worth mentioning that the Sindh government has introduced the direct credit scheme for direct disbursement of pension and commutation into retirees account. This scheme will be mandatory for all civil servants of government of Sindh who stand retired on or after 1st of February 2016. The old pensioners will also have the option to shift to this scheme. So there are certain fiscal reforms, I'll talk about them. So we'll raise some additional revenue through these fiscal reforms. The Sindh sales tax on service. Sir, as I mentioned earlier, Sindh is the only province which has gradually reduced the standard rate of sales tax. While the standard rate of sales tax is 17% in the Federation, 16% in Punjab and Islamabad Capital Territory, and 15% in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan, Sindh has reduced the rate from 16 to 15 in 2014, 14% in 2015. Sindh believes that reduction in tax rate prompts tax compliance and increases revenue yield. Hence, we are proposing that the standard rate of Sindh sales tax be reduced to 13% for the year 2016-17. Also, this will cause loss of 3.5 billion in revenues. A part of it will be made up by increasing efficiency in SRB tax machinery and by adjusting the non-statutory rate of tax. So the reduction in the statutory rate of sales tax and the simultaneous continuation of highest statutory rate of sales tax in the Federation and other provinces has caused a breach in the net collection of sin sales tax. Because the inputs suffer higher tax rather than the output tax of sin sales tax, with a view to safeguard the loss of sin sales tax revenue, I propose that this input tax credit of amount accounting for more than 13% of the value of sales tax shall not be allowed. Certain services are provincial sales tax in other provinces but not in sin. With a view to equating the tax base of sin sales tax on service with other provinces, sir, we are proposing to levy a sin sales tax on chartered flight services, consultancy services, personal relation services, visa processing services, debt collection services, and supply chain management services. None of these services will affect the common man. These are all being procured by high-end individuals or multinational companies. At present, persons having annual turnover, so some of the relief measures that we've taken are that at present, persons having annual turnover of rupees 3.6 million are exempted from sales tax on service. This is proposed to be increased by 10%, and now the annual turnover of up to rupees 4.4 million will be exempted from levy of sales tax if approved by the Provincial Assembly. This August House will be pleased to know that I propose to increase the scope of exemption on internet and broadband service used by household, students and researchers. The exemption threshold on internet service is being enlarged from 2 megabits per second speed to rupees 1,500 per month per user to 4 megabits per second and rupees 2,500 per month. Sir, in my last budget, I had announced introduction of negative list of services of taxation in 2016-17. We are going to start this negative list, inshallah, from the 1st of December 2016. Before parting, and we will give adequate time to the various trade houses, the chambers, to look at this scheme of negative list, get their feedback and then implement it from the 1st of December 2016. So before parting with the issues of sin sales tax on service, I am glad to inform the August House that the Honorable Sindh High Court, in its judgment dated 2nd of June 2016, has declared the levy of federal excise duty on services to be ultra vires of the Constitution and has held that taxation of service in the exclusive legislature of the domain of the province. This landmark judgment has resolved a long outstanding issue, and the service providers in Sindh are now relieved of threat of double taxation. In the Finance Bill 2016 laid before the National Assembly on 3rd June 2016, Federal Government has proposed to withdraw FET on most of the services, but some of the services shall continue to be levied with the FET. In the said Finance Bill, the Federation has also proposed certain amendments which negate the VAT concept of sales taxation, like disallowing of eligibility of provincial sales tax for an input for the purpose of federal sales tax on goods. Surprisingly, the provincial sales tax authorities have also declared to be withholding agents for the purpose of advance income tax for non-filers, and even e-filing of provincial sales tax returns have been demanded to be stopped. Sir, we have written to the federal government to change these, and we have also approached the leader of the opposition in the National Assembly, and I believe there's a meeting in Islamabad on Monday, and these changes, these provisions in the federal finance bill which will adversely affect our sales tax on service, they will be removed. Sir, excise taxation and narcotics. Sir, we have proposed an enhancement of 10% from 1.05%, from 1 to 1.05% to 1.05 to 1.1% in the infrastructure cess, and we hope to raise about 2.8 billion with this tax. Sir, in the Board of Revenue, we are making amendments in the Stamp Act, the valuation table of 1899, the registration fee levied under the Land Revenue Act of 1967. Sir, there are certain government reforms which are listed here for shortage of time. I am not going to go through this, but I have those who are interested can read through the budget speech. We've introduced public financial management reforms. We've included Sindh's tax revenue mobilization plan. A budget strategy paper has been formulated and passed by the cabinet, and now we have a 3-year budget strategy. We have restructured the master data of the provincial government. There are certain discrepancies there, and if anybody is interested, I can personally or the finance department be glad to explain what changes we have made there, and for shortage of time, I'm just skipping these here. Sir, I will just end my speech with the concluding remarks. I thank the members of this House for patiently listening to my speech. The ones who made a noise, unfortunately, could not hear what I said, and so they are the ones at the disadvantage, not the others who have listened to the speech. Sir, I would thank you for allowing me to present the Sindh budget 2016-17. Sir, I also thank the people of Sindh who have stood by the elected government and guided us at every step. This budget is a reflection of their aspirations, a testament of their hopes, and evidence of the trust that they have laid in their representatives. We make a commitment to serve the people of Sindh with new resolve and energy. We will make every attempt to justify the confidence the people of Sindh have showed in us. Sir, I thank Almighty Allah once again for giving me this opportunity of presenting the budget to this August House, and through this August House to the people of Sindh. And I thank him all the more because he has given me this privilege of presenting this budget in the holy month of Ramadan. So I'd like to thank my chairman Bilawal Bhutto Zardari and co-chairman Asif Ali Zardari, who have at all steps guided us. Sir, if I don't thank the Honorable Chief Minister of Sindh, Syed Qaim Ali Shah, who at every step has guided me, and whose kindness and whose guidance has made me present this 4th budget of the current financial year and the 9th budget under the leadership of Chief Minister Sindh Qaim Ali Shah. Sir, I thank my cabinet colleagues for cooperating in the presentation of the budget, in the preparation of the budget. The members of both the Treasury and the opposition, especially Khwaja Izharul Haq, who had promised that he would not make a noise, and he's been quiet throughout. I'm thankful to him. I'm very thankful to Khwaja Izharul Hasan that he did not get up and join his troops. As I said, I had personally met all the parliamentary party leaders and some of the parliamentary party members of all the parties, and I thank them for this. So I'd like to thank the assembly staff. Obviously, thank you first, sir, for letting me present this budget. I'd like to thank the assembly staff for making arrangements for budget presentation, and the next 2 or 3 weeks when we'll be discussing the budget here, that the hard work they'll put in. I'll thank the members of the press in advance, and inshallah ta'ala in my closing speech, I will thank them again, and I hope that they cover the proceedings of the budget in a fair and justified manner, which they've always been doing. I thank them. Sir, countless hours of hard work have been put in by the employees of the finance department in the timely presentation of this budget. I've mentioned this before. At least during Ramadan, they used to sit right up to Sehri. They would come after Taraweeh, praise, and they would sit right up to Sehri in doing the final touches. And before that, for the last 2 months or so, the finance department initially increases the time to 6 o'clock and then 8 p.m. And if anybody had come to the secretariat during the last 2 months, you would see both the finance department and the planning and development department, people leaving after 8 p.m. from their offices. I thank them. I thank them for their hard work. Sir, I would like to bring on record this August House my appreciation for all the officers and staff of the finance department. They worked with dedication and untiring commitment to complete this voluminous exercise in a befitting manner. And especially I would like to thank the Secretary of Finance, Mr. Suhail Rajput. It is his, I believe, fifth or sixth budget that he is doing. He was the Special Secretary of Resources, and he did 3 budgets during that tenure, and he's done 3 budgets as the Finance Secretary, one of the longest tenures of Finance Secretaries that we've had. So he's been ably supported by the Special Secretaries, Mr. Noor Alam and Mr. Hassan Naqvi, the Additional Secretaries, Mr. Khalid Sheikh, Mr. Shahab Ansari.